So, good evening. This is Sasha Allenby, and I'm very delighted to have this opportunity to share a free webinar with you tonight on waking up from your story. So, what I'd like to do with you in tonight's webinar, let's check we've got full blast. What I'd like to do with you in tonight's webinar is take a closer look at the story model, and I'll explain all about what the story model is in a moment, and share with you how you can move from surviving to thriving. I'm also, for those of you that weren't on my recent Matrix Reawakening webinar series, I'm going to do a short introduction to Matrix Reawakening and also share with you the technique, give you a demo, and take any questions. And there's also going to be an opportunity at the end to find out how you can work with me further. I know some of you are interested in coming on my client program, so I'm going to make a little section, just 5 minutes at the end, for you guys that are looking to work with me further in the new client program that starts in September. So let's get started with the main body of the webinar. So the story model is something that's come out of Matrix Reawakening to explain the way that we've been working with you and the way that working has perhaps changed. I know a number of you have come to me because of Matrix Reimprinting originally, and through the book Matrix Reimprinting and that work there. So I just want to point out right from the very start that that work still has a very valuable place in helping you to rewrite the traumas that may have been part of your story. But also, when we're talking about the story model, what we can end up doing is getting caught on what I call a never ending story. Now, what can happen as well is when you've been used to going back and rewriting your traumas and going back time and time and time again and going and fixing and changing and improving the model that is your story, that can also become a very addictive pattern. So, whilst on the one hand, it's really kind of important to go back to key events that were perhaps traumatic, that created a change in your body chemistry and rewrite those key events. The tool Matrix Reawakening can help you come out of that cycle and come out of the story model to help you to return to the present moment. Now, in this new model that takes you out of the story model, then you come away from the never-ending story, and your life becomes the context of your awakening. And I can see some questions coming through. I will take questions at the end, but as it's a short webinar, I'm going to keep the flow going for now, and then towards the end, I'll take some questions from you. So, with this new model, then your life is the context of your awakening, and every single challenge that you experience in life can be the context of enabling you to wake up. Now, this isn't a new model at all. In fact, a lot of the Eastern traditions teach this model. And if you came through something like a yogic path or a meditative path, first of all, as I did initially before I even found this work, then the whole premise of those paths is a more kind of live with it path where you have your life experiences and you have your challenges and you kind of like change your internal reality to be okay with those challenges. And then there's the other kind of model, which is more prevalent to the personal development and transformation industry. And that model is the fix it model. And it's the one that's more common to things like EFT and things like matrix reimprinting and tools such as NLP, where you go and you create a transformation in certain parts of your story. This new model enables you to do both, so you don't have to choose between one or the other. But right running through the middle of it is that your life is the context of your awakening, and every single life challenge can become an opportunity for you to awaken. And I'm going to explain more about how that's the case as we progress with this webinar. So this is exciting because really basically what we're doing is we're taking all the developments that we've had over the past couple of years with things like EFT and matrix reimprinting and all the other tools. They're still very, very relevant. We're bringing them into a new context. And the way this came about for me was I was also caught in the story model for some time. For those of you that don't know my story, I had worked a lot with my own traumas. I'd done a lot of transformation around my own traumas and around my own story. But I also got into this place where I was kind of going back, fixing the story. And like I explained earlier, that can get very addictive and that can keep you on a very kind of addictive cycle. So to move from reimprinting to reawakening is a case of biology, and a lot of the work that we did with matrix reimprinting is to help you come out of survival. For any of you who know Bruce Lipton's work, something like The Biology of Belief, you'll know that your body can only be in one particular state at any one time. And that state is either survival or thriving. So biologically, physically, you're wired to either be surviving or thriving at any one time. Now, if you've experienced a lot of trauma, then what tends to happen is the survival mechanism gets re-triggered really, really frequently. So, for example, if you've experienced a trauma and your subconscious, you're kind of walking down the street and your subconscious is reminded of something similar, then that survival mechanism gets re-triggered. So I'm not suggesting that we bypass rewriting that survival mechanism and releasing that trigger. A lot of the earlier work helps you to rewrite that survival mechanism and release those triggers. And that enables you to come back to the present, enables you to come back to thriving. So when you get triggered with your traumas, when your traumas get re-triggered, then there's still a very strong place for rewriting that survival mechanism. But when you've kind of rewritten that survival mechanism and you've clicked back into thriving, the current work enables you to stay in that thriving place more frequently, or reside in that thriving place more frequently. So we're switching out of this survival mode where you're constantly getting triggered into survival, into being present and consciously aware in each given moment. And it also takes us to two things that you may have also come across if you've been on a spiritual path for some time. Now, you can also be in only one of these two states at any one time, and that is the me or the I. And a lot of the work that you do with things like yoga and meditation is to enable you to get back into I consciousness, to enable you to get back into conscious awareness. Now, conscious awareness is a term that's talked about a lot, but it's not always obvious where conscious awareness fits into on this current path or this current model that I'm sharing with you. And when we talk about the me self, we're talking about the conditioned or the programmed self. Now, the me self is the one where all the addictions reside. It's the one where all the dramas and the stories reside. It's the one where all the beliefs and the problems reside. Your me self is ruled by your thoughts and emotions. So the thinking mind that is going round and round again, chewing on different stories or different aspects of your story is the me self. Now, a lot of the work we do with the previous tools is to help to get resolution for the me self, to the one that feels like maybe it's a victim of the story, to the one that feels like something went wrong in what should have been a perfect and unaltered life. And you can really use tools like matrix reimprinting and EFT and these other tools to really kind of heal the me self. But if you kind of keep going round in that, you can get lost in healing the me. For any of you who know the work of somebody like Anthony de Mello, who was an enlightened master, he very much calls this fixing the toys. And I don't know about you guys, but there were times where I got really kind of caught in fixing my toys, going around fixing my story and fixing my story. And the thing about that is it's a never ending cycle of keeping going round and keeping going round. And the thing is, the me is never satisfied. You fix a certain part of the story, you get relief for a certain moment, and then you go back round in these cycles again, where the me finds something else that it wants to fix, change, or improve. So when we're talking about conscious awareness, we're talking about the I self, what's often called the I. And this is often described as spirit. It's often described as the eternal self. And the I is the space in which me exists. It's a very neutral place. It's a very timeless place. And the I is in peace, whatever the emotional state is. Now, there's a big kind of misperception about awakening, that awakening is some place that we've got to get to, or awakening is some place in the distance or in this future. But in reality, you are already awake beyond the dramas and the stories of the me. And this is really great when you get to realize this. You kind of know this already on some level. When you're walking in nature, for example, and you're just kind of absolutely at one with nature. You're walking down the street or you're walking in a really beautiful place. You look at the sky and you forget all the stories, you forget all the drama, and you're just in this complete experience of oneness. So that resides within you all of the time, but it often gets clouded by the dramas, by the stories, by the concerns of the me, if you like. And so when we're talking about awakening, when we're talking about waking up from your story, we're talking about enabling you to return to that place that already exists in yourself, and not to go to some future or heightened state or some kind of different blissed out state. We're talking about returning to the state that is your natural state, whatever. And this is really what we're going to be showing you with Matrix Reawakening, how to do that, how to move out of the story, and how to come to this place, this I place, this place of eternal consciousness, and to help you to overcome this cycle of being caught in the me and return to this place in the I, to rest in the awareness of the I. So this tool, Matrix Reawakening, that I'm going to demonstrate for you very shortly, it's a tool that you can use on yourself anytime you get caught or lost in the story. It doesn't bypass the use for tools like matrix re-imprinting if you've got big traumas to resolve, for example. And I've had a couple of emails from a number of you that I'll write back to over the next couple of days. And in those emails, you ask me questions like, are you talking about glossing over what's happened? Are you talking about like glossing over the fact that I've got all this kind of underlying pain and this underlying emotion? Absolutely not. In fact, that's known as spiritual bypassing. And my feeling is that a lot of the time when people take a long time to overcome the challenges that they're experiencing when they're on a journey of awakening, it's because they try and gloss over this stuff, or they try and spiritually bypass the stuff that is really kind of there as an undercurrent. So just to be really, really clear, we're not talking about glossing over those things or bypassing them. And it may be that you have a mixture of using tools like matrix re-imprinting to clear the big T, the big trauma stuff, but also tools like Matrix Reawakening to help you wake up from the story in the moment. So you can use Matrix Reawakening when you've triggered yourself with your thoughts. When you've come out of this place of awareness, this place of peace, and you're chewing on a specific thought that is going over and over and over again in your head. I'm sure you've all had them where you may have even had them today, where your thoughts just start chewing over and over and over. And it's like you become your thoughts. And you can't differentiate between where the thought came in and the emotion attached to the thought. It's like suddenly it takes over you, and you actually kind of like ride in the thought. You're kind of clinging onto it, and you don't know where you end and the thought begins. So you can use Matrix Reawakening in this moment. And you can also use it when you find yourself caught in the story or obsessing about certain aspects or elements of the story. We call it going from the matrix mind to awakened awareness in Matrix Reawakening. The matrix mind is where you kind of got lost in the thinking of the me. In fact, the matrix mind represents the thinking of the me. And the awakened awareness is when we go into the consciousness, into the I. So this tool helps you to flick out of the matrix mind, the thinking mind, the obsessing mind, the fearful mind, and into awakened awareness, helping you to come out of the story and obsessing about the story. So you can also use it when you have a thought that turns into a feeling, or when you have a feeling that turns into a thought. So, for example, you may be walking down the street in complete peace, and suddenly a thought comes into your mind like, what if my girlfriend or boyfriend leaves me? Or are they having an affair? Some random thought. And that thought then becomes a feeling in the body. But it can also work the other way around. You can be walking down the street and you can suddenly get a feeling in your body, and then your mind attaches to that feeling and tries to work out what that feeling is about. So it'll try and assign something, and it'll tell you something like, oh, that feeling's there because I'm not happy with my job, or that feeling's there because I'm not happy in my relationship. Anytime the thought becomes a feeling or the feeling becomes a thought, then you can use this tool to rewrite it. Also, when something outside of you triggers your thinking, so for example, if you're walking down the street or if you're in a connection with somebody and something they say triggers you into a spiral of what might be termed negative thinking, although I'm not really into the terms positive and negative, just for description's sake, then you can use this tool to help yourself wake up in that moment. So I'm going to demonstrate this technique to you in a moment. What I'm going to do first of all is talk you through the steps, and then I'm going to bring Peggy on, and she's going to come on live with something that she's been chewing on in her mind, a thought that's become a feeling. I'm going to show you how you can use it to help you release that thought from a feeling and come back to I consciousness. So it happens in 6 steps. I'm going to share with you 5 of those steps tonight. The 6th step is a whole nother part to it. So I'm just going to keep it really simple tonight. And in these 5 steps, you can still get tremendous relief from something that's going round and round in your mind. And we start with a perceived problem. We call it a perceived problem because it's always something in the mind that's creating a problem that then becomes a problem for you. So we always start without going into the story yet, briefly describe the problem you want to heal your relationship with today. And it's always in 1 or 2 sentences because we don't want to get really deep into the problem at this moment. So you can kind of identify something, obviously keeping yourself safe and knowing that you're on a webinar and that you're doing this for yourself for the first time, so nothing too big. Maybe identify something for yourself that you've got that you might want to kind of do as Peggy works through her own thing tonight. So in 1 or 2 sentences, the problem you want to heal your relationship with today. And then we do a reality check. Now, the reality check is to help you to realize that the problem isn't happening in the here and now, but in fact happening in the confines of your mind. So in order to do a reality check, we notice that this moment is happening, what you can see, what you can hear, what you're currently touching, any smells, any sound outside my voice. And also you can look at a few objects around the room and then notice the space in between things, really to bring you into the current moment. The next thing we do is the mind made. And with the mind made, we discover that it's not happening in the here and now, but instead a story that's happening in your mind. So I'm going to get you to temporarily leave this moment and give me a few more details about the problem. And you'll see how that takes you out of the present and back into the matrix mind when we do this step. Then we're going to go to the resist persist. Now, one of the main reasons that it feels like a problem is that your mind believes it's justified to resist it. And the resistance causes a large part of the stress and any emotions that you may be feeling. So I'm going to ask you, what are you currently resisting about this? And how does resisting it make you feel? And where do you feel that resistance in your body? And then I'm going to take you to the bring it on. The good news is that it's not what's happening, but instead you're thinking about what's happening that you're currently feeling. So in other words, you feel the thinking about the problem. And when we really allow that feeling and say, bring it onto that feeling and really allow it to be present in the body, really amazing things happen. And it starts to shift and change without having to tap on it, without having to try and make it go away, without having to analyze it or any of those other things. So you can sit with it for as long as you need to, really being present with it and see what happens when you don't resist it. Now, what I've described to you is tremendously simple, but has tremendously profound effects, enabling you in any situation to wake up from the story. You can use this in pain. For those of you that were on the Matrix Reawakening webinar series, we use this as a demonstration for pain. And it's not to make the pain go away, but it was the thinking about the pain that was causing the problem. You know, all the fears like, how long am I going to be in bed? Is this mean that I'm not going to be able to do certain things? So you can do it on anywhere where there's a thinking, a story about something specific that's happening, whether it's a physical pain, whether it's something that's happening in your external reality, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a procrastination issue, or anything in your life where your thinking is causing a resistance and where you're feeling you're thinking about it. So I'd like to take some time to demonstrate this technique to you now. And to do that, I'm going to bring on our beautiful friend Peggy, who's waiting for us in the wings. And if you just give me a second, let's bring her on live. Hello, gorgeous.
Hello, Sasha.
Hello, sweetheart. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well, thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful stuff. So we're going to keep very much to the protocol tonight, love. Just first of all, actually, tell everybody where you are in the world, where you're calling in from today.
I'm in the U.S., in a state named Michigan,
Uh-huh.
and I live on one of the Great Lakes.
Beautiful,
Hmm.
beautiful. Fantastic. Okay, my darling, so we're going to keep very much to protocol just for the demonstration. I know you've worked with me before and we sometimes weave in and out of this, but we're going to keep it really for protocol tonight. So,
Okay.
without going into the story yet, can you briefly describe the problem you want to heal your relationship with today in one or two sentences?
Sure. What if I can't finish the book I'm writing? What if?
What if you can't finish the book you're writing? Okay,
Hmm.
beautiful. So you're writing this book, and what if you can't finish this book that you're writing? Okay,
Right.
perfect. And we're going to go into the story of it a bit further down, so we'll just keep it there for now. And
Okay.
what I'd like to do now with you, darling, is a reality check. So, in
Hmm.
order to heal your relationship with this issue, we're going to start with this reality check. And to do this, I'd like to invite you to notice this moment is happening, to get really present with me into I consciousness and out of the me story for a moment. So, first of all, what can you see, hon?
Well, I can see the trees outside my window.
Beautiful.
I can see a little water fountain that's on my desk. The clock in front of me.
Perfect. And everybody that's listening at home, I want to invite you to also get really present in your room and see what you can see in the room. So you're kind of going along with us here on this journey. So can you hear anything outside of my voice, hon?
I hear the birds outside my window. The window's open. It's a lovely day, and I can hear the birds.
Perfect, perfect.
Um, mhm.
Okay, and are you sitting on something with a backrest, Peggy? Can you feel something on your back? Are you sitting on a couch or a sofa or what are you sitting on?
I'm sitting on my harp bench.
Nice.
It's just a flat bench that I sit on to play my harp.
Beautiful. Can you feel like where you're really contacting that with your body?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Wonderful. And anything you can smell or taste?
I smell the fresh grass that my husband cut this morning. Um, Freshly mowed lawn. Um, I just had a cough drop, so I taste that.
Perfect, perfect. And just like one more step with this. So you mentioned that you can see the trees and also the fountain on your desk. Can you just now
Hmm.
kind of see the space in between things? I know you can't actually see it, but kind of focus so you're taking in the whole room. And for those of you who haven't done this exercise before that are listening along, also see the space in between things and notice what happens in your physiology when you does. What's happening in yours, Peggy, when you see the space in between things?
In between myself and this fountain, I focused on that space, and now I'm focusing on the trees and the space between them and myself. And
What's
I feel a
happening?
calmness.
Calmness. Yeah, beautiful. So
I
you
feel
feel
a calmness. Yeah,
gorgeous.
yeah,
In
yeah.
the whole of your body, you can feel that calm.
Right, right. I do. It's like immediate when you focus on that space. It's just like calming down, as though like we used to when we tap.
Fantastic, Peggy. This is great. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I just want to help you to see that when we go back into the mind made, the story, then, and we're not saying the story doesn't exist in reality, by the way, but when we go back into the story, we're going to see what changes in your body. So we're going to discover that it's not actually happening in the reality of here and now, but a story inside of your mind. So I'm going to invite you to temporarily leave this moment and give me a few details from the story about the problem in no more than 5 or 6 sentences. So just give me some more detail.
Okay. Well, I'm coming up on my 8th year from my diagnosis of cancer and shouldn't have been alive a year afterwards. And the thought of I'm writing a book for other cancer patients, and the thought of not being able to finish that is keeps coming into my mind and playing out. What if I can't
What if
finish
I
it?
can't finish it? Is that the main thought that's there? What if I can't finish it? What if I don't finish it? Is that the main thought?
Yeah, well, it goes back to what if I get sick again and I can't finish it.
Okay, okay. So we've gone right quite deep into this. Like I was chatting to you earlier, and you weren't sure what the really kind of deep underlying the clinching one was. And
Mm-hmm.
so just be clear for me: is the strongest thought, what if I get sick again, or what if I can't finish it? Just to be really, really clear for me.
Well, I suppose what if I get sick again covers it all.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Perfect. And we'll probably go to that subsidiary thought as well. And so obviously we're not denying the realness of this experience you've had. You know, this is a phenomenal experience that you've had, and we're not denying that that's happening in reality. But we know that the story about that is what's creating this kind of feeling in your body. So
Right.
and one of the main reasons that it feels like a problem is your mind believes it's justified to resist it. And with something where it's life and death, the mind has a big reason to believe it's justified to resist the feeling. Yeah, it doesn't get much bigger than that, does it, when it comes to life and death, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the
Mm-hmm.
resistance that's causing the stress and the emotions you may be feeling. So, what I want to invite you to do, darling, is close your eyes and tell
Okay.
me what you're currently resisting about this and where do you feel that resistance in your body?
Oh, well, I'm feeling it now in my stomach.
Yeah.
It's like a um, swirling around, how your stomach gets anxious, anxiety you feel in your stomach. That's what I'm feeling there. Um, I don't know. It feels like, for the most part, I stay very positive, and I know I'm going to be okay. But it feels like my mind is resisting that.
Your mind's resisting what? Sorry, darling. I didn't catch the end piece.
The feeling of being positive and not having that thought.
Okay, okay, perfect, perfect. And it's this is a swirling in your stomach, this kind of like swirling feeling in there, yeah?
Right, right.
Okay, beautiful. So we're not going to tap it away. We're not going to do anything like this with it. We're just going to really go and be present with it. So the good news is it's not what's happening, but you're thinking about what's happening that you're currently feeling, and you're thinking about going forward into future moments and fearing future moments, going back to past moments and kind of using that as evidence for future moments. So what I want to allow you to do is really allow that feeling that you've been squashing down, that swirling in your stomach. So, what happens if you say, bring it on to the thoughts and the feelings that go with it? I want to invite you to take a few moments to sit with it and let it be really present with you without resisting any of it. So, you can do this by dropping into it and watching the feeling in that area of your body. And as you remain aware through watching what happens to the thoughts and feelings, I want you to sit with it for as long as you need to. And perhaps because we're doing this as a live session, if you can let us know out loud so we're not just kind of sitting in silence for ages, maybe just kind of share with us what happens when you drop in there and you really say, bring it on to that feeling and you allow that feeling to be.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I've already said bring it on. Um, I've noticed that my stomach is settling down. I don't feel that anxiety around the thought. Um, Getting my book written seems to be a predominant calming feeling, actually,
Okay.
in my right. And yes, pardon?
Yeah, I'm just wanting to get clear with you, darling, whether you'd said bring it on to the feeling of what if I won't be here, or bring it on to the feeling of what if I don't get my book written. I just wanted to get really clear with you.
Oh,
So
yes, I did.
yeah,
Yes, I did. Bring
brilliant.
it on. Yeah, yeah. I had done that before. you told me to be verbal, but yes, bring it on. That thought that I won't be around to finish my book.
Beautiful.
And my stomach is settling down, as I said. I feel this sense of peace in my chest where sometimes I don't
Okay, beautiful.
around that thought.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's left there, darling? What's left? Is it in total peace, this area now, or is there some other thing that's left there? Some other thought or niggle or something more specific around getting the book finished? Just get really clear for me here.
Yeah, it's the book is very important to me to show other people how I, with EFT, um, more or less help myself heal.
Hmm.
And it's just very important to me to get that book out. But I, like I said, I'm feeling a sense of peace around that right now.
When you say it's important, do you mean there's a kind of a irritating drive or a healthy drive? When you say it's important, do you feel like at peace with the kind of the impetus behind it, or do you feel that there's something else that's like pushing, or just get really clear for me because I want to ideally help you in this short space of time to be at
Okay.
peace with the whole process, and I just want to really make sure that's where we are, love.
Okay. Well, yeah. Every once in a while, it does come as a drive
Hmm.
um, to help other people manage how I have, even if it's, my gosh, 8 years. Um, it's better than what I expected, and I just think it's a huge, and that's also kind of a drive, isn't it, Sasha? A
Yeah,
huge,
for sure, yeah. Perfect.
yeah. But it's just that I know in my heart that I can help other people, and um, and it's not about me now anyway. It feels like it's about them, not about me.
Wow, that's a shift, isn't it, from the conversation we had at the start of the session? I feel like that just
Yeah,
feel like a different kind of perspective on it, like a more kind of global and freer perspective.
yeah, I guess it is.
Okay. What I want to invite you to do now, sweetheart, is just sit now in your heart as the watcher in your heart, watching the thoughts go through your mind about this book. And this is step 6, guys, by the way, that we weren't kind of going to go there with tonight, but it just feels really appropriate to go there with Peggy now. So drop into your heart as the watcher in your heart. I want to invite you to watch the thoughts going through your mind about this book and just check in with me. Is there anywhere those thoughts catch and become a feeling, like become a feeling that's perhaps a more kind of not pleasant feeling or a not pleasant drive? Just kind of sit with me for a moment as the watcher in your heart, watching the thoughts go through and just see if they're independent of a feeling.
Mm, um, they seem to be attached to the swirling again. I'm getting that again.
Perfect, perfect. I felt there was something there that we didn't get. Which specific thought attaches to the swirling? Which specific one?
Coming up to 8 years, and what if I can't finish my book?
So it's
What if,
specifically the one, what if I can't finish my book?
yeah.
Specifically, 8 years. Does 8 years have a big weight in this? We didn't go to the 8 years part first. There seems to be a big weight in that time gap.
Yeah, I suppose so. It's what I call the heebie-jeebies. It's every year at the anniversary, but it seems to be heavier this year.
Okay, okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, so
Possibly because it's regarding the book, because I want to get the book written.
more like a more responsibility in some way, isn't it? Something around like getting this done for other people and responsibility for it. Something like this.
Yeah, Yeah, yeah. I know it will help other people.
Okay, perfect, perfect. We didn't get this little aspect of it before, that the like the
Right.
responsibility weight around it and the feeling that you've kind of got to do this for everybody else. So what I want to invite you to do now, sweetheart, go straight back into that feeling again, that swirling. And again, say bring it on, but take your time with it this time. Don't feel like you've got to rush. Just really take your time with it. Still
Okay. I,
staying as this watcher in your heart and being really observant as you drop in there of all those thoughts and all the attachments of the feelings that go with it. Just really sitting in there, saying bring it on, and just allow it to feel, to be whatever it is, but
bring it
really take
on.
your time this time.
Hmm.
No rush.
My stomach has settled down again,
Okay.
and there's this feeling of almost blissful, happy, maybe relief.
Good. Your voice sounds different this time. Less like you were willing it before. Like this time, I feel like it sounds a little bit different. So,
Hmm.
just did we get the 8 years specifically? Because that aspect was a really important aspect of it. Did we get specifically that 8 years, that part there?
Mm. It's no different than any other year that's coming into my head.
Oh,
No,
beautiful.
no different. It's just another year.
And I just want to get clear for everybody that's listening that's perhaps not familiar with this technique, that that's not just a positive thought that replaced the negative thought. That's not you trying to talk yourself into it. That's a realization, if you like. And I'm just checking just to really make
Oh,
sure.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
That's what the feeling is now. It's just another year. My body's relaxed. My stomach is relaxed. Um, no, it feels good. It feels really good.
Beautiful. I'm glad we went in for that. I felt like there was another aspect. So just like tune into the particular story, like go back to the particular story that we came to at the start, just to really test and just say a few sentences about the book and just see how that feels in your body now when you tell me a little bit about the book.
Well, the book is going to help many, many people um, obtain peace of mind from their cancer diagnosis, and that feels good. That feels real.
Beautiful.
That feels really good.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know if the guys that are listening can get this or the guys that are listening to the recording, but there was a weight in the words that when you first talked about this, there was this weight, almost like this weight of responsibility in the words, this kind of like a heaviness to it almost when you first talked about it. I don't feel the weight in those words anymore. Does that feel true to you? I mean, correct me if it's
It is. No, it's very true. I feel very light. I feel I've gotten clarity. Uh, it's a happy thought. Um, it doesn't weigh heavily in my stomach where it always seems to be. But no, it's a good feeling. Good feeling.
beautiful, beautiful. And just to be really clear for everybody, sometimes you have to go in and do bring it on to various aspects of the thought, just like in EFT, where you have to go in and tap on various aspects. Sometimes there's like thoughts within thoughts and layers of thoughts. And there was a real strong sense that there was a layer of thought beneath that original one, which is why we went back in for a second round. Peggy, you've been amazing to bring something so big to share with these guys tonight, to just be able to show them that even with something that's such a big thing, that you can bring and get relief with this technique just in one sitting. I really appreciate you coming and taking the time to share your time with us here, darling.
Oh, you're very welcome. And I'm just realizing that the weight of that 8th year was tremendous. And I feel so light around it now. I think the book is light. The 8th year is light. It's just another year.
Beautiful, beautiful.
It's
And that
good.
was something that you weren't aware of at the start of the session, I guess. You know, we didn't,
No,
that's what
no,
we were
I
talking
wasn't.
about. Yeah. Beautiful. You're
Yeah,
amazing, darling. Thank you so, so much. It's just your story is phenomenal, and I'm sure everybody that's on the line wishes you this massive success in getting this book written and reaching all the lives of the people that it's going to reach. Thank you so much for coming on.
you're very welcome.
I'll speak to you soon, my darling.
Okay,
Bye for now.
bye-bye.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. What an honor. So, what I'd like to do now for you guys at home, and for anybody that wants that 5 step process, that after the webinar, in fact, I'll send this out with the follow up material. So, don't worry about taking notes on this. I'll send the slides out so that you've got that 5 step process. What I'd like to do now is just spend the last 5 or so minutes of the webinar sharing how I'd like to work with you further. If any of you would like to come and work with me on the new client program that I'm going to be sharing. It's a program that starts on the 30th of September, and this program happens twice a year. I take 10 people twice a year through this program. This is the 5th program. Very, very excited about this one because it also includes the new tool Matrix Reawakening that I'm going to teach you how to use on yourself. Now, this program is for you if you ever get lost in your dramas or your stories or your thoughts, or if you find yourself obsessing to thoughts or certain thought patterns and attaching to those thought patterns. Also, if you find that your thoughts are triggered by your environment, so things outside of yourself trigger a thinking pattern that then you go round and round and round again, and you feel in some ways like a victim of your thinking, although victim's not a word that I use a lot. It's sometimes you find that you get caught in that thinking to the point where you can't separate yourself from the thinking. And also, this leads to maybe you forgetting yourself at times and having times where you feel really kind of awake and conscious, and other times where you feel like you've lost and forgotten yourself. So, it's also for you if you find yourself spiraling with certain thoughts or emotions, and you come in and out of feeling peaceful and whole, untroubled and frustrated. This is something that I hear people describing a lot, where at times you feel that you're peaceful and whole, and at those times you think you can never forget yourself again, and then you go straight back into feeling troubled and frustrated again, and then you get kind of lost in this cycle, kind of bouncing between the two. In some ways, what I'm describing is bouncing between the matrix mind and the awakened awareness. And also, if you're experiencing like a awakening journey of some sort, you feel like you're waking up from your dramas and stories and you want support with that. I know when I realized that I was waking up on this path from my dramas and my stories, and I searched for teachers that could help me with that, there weren't so many people that could help me with that, because the transformation industry is kind of set up in a more kind of fixing, change, and improving way, and less about kind of waking up from the story. So if you really feel that you'd like somebody to help you to wake up from your story, then this program is also for you as well. So it starts on the 30th of September. And what I'm going to do on this program is help you to experience your life through conscious awareness rather than filtering it through your me self. As you saw in the demonstration there with Peggy, there was moments where she was filtering the world through the me, where the story had kind of like caught her and she was filtering the world through the story. And there were times where she was experiencing it through conscious awareness. Nothing changed apart from the way that she was experiencing her life and the way that she was filtering her life. So I'm going to help you to remove those filters so you can experience your life through awareness. And in doing this, we're going to learn brand new tools and ways of working, which I'll show you in the sessions. I'll help you within the sessions. I'll teach you on webinars, and I'll also help you to implement on yourself. So I'll facilitate them with you at first, enabling you then to be able to wake yourself up from any story that you experience at any point. So participants typically experience, on the 4 programs that have gone before, participants have typically experienced the ability to see things in a new and awakened way. So a shift in consciousness, a shift in the way that they see things. And this translates not just in sessions, which I think is really, really important, but in day-to-day life as well. So it's all very well kind of coming in sessions and having these amazing shifts, but I'm going to show you how to actually have those in your day-to-day reality as well. So it's not just something that's happening in the sessions. And what tends to happen is it feels like a veil has come off life, and you have an ability to see things clearly and also see when you've got lost in your story and quickly wake yourself up from that experience as well. And this leads to more peace, joy, and happiness, not as fanciful concepts, but as actual life experiences. It's very easy to bandy around these words like peace and joy and happiness, but we're looking at those as actual life experiences and not just as concepts. So just to get very clear, I'm not saying if you come on this program you will become enlightened. Any teacher that says something like that to you, I would be very kind of cautious of. But what I am saying is I'll help you to experience more awakening, more awareness, and support you on that awakening journey, help you to be awake more of the time. And of course, you're the one that actually wakes up. You're the one that has the awakening, but the tools and the sessions are there to help you, support you in that. So the program includes 10 one-hour one-to-one sessions with me over a period of 3 months, 3 live webinars, an exclusive support forum with the 10 people on the program, and there'll be an intro and closing session as well. So we really kind of help you look where you are at the start of the program and close that at the end of the program. And also swap sessions with others in the group, and an exclusive email account just for the program, so that you can keep in regular contact with me between the sessions and let me know what's happening for you and what's going on as well. So there's also bonus for people that sign up by Sunday, because the program doesn't actually start till the 30th. But for those of you that sign up early, I'm going to do an extra free bonus session before the program starts. And also the 5-week e-coaching program will start in a couple of weeks as well, and that will lead you up to the program. So these are bonuses for people that sign up early by Sunday. So the investment, I've actually kept this program at the same price as my first Awakening program, which was almost 3 years ago now. So one session with me is usually £225, that's UK sterling. I'm bringing you the whole program for 1,495 UK sterling. That's payable in 5 instalments, so you can spread it across 5 payments of £300 UK sterling. Also, you can save a further £200 UK sterling by paying it in one payment. So if you were to buy those individual sessions alone with me, those 10 individual sessions alone, they would cost you something like 2,200 UK sterling. And that's before we've costed in things like the webinars, the group support, and all the kind of additional bonuses that go with the program as well. So if you'd like to book, you can go to www.sashaallenby.com/new-client-program/. And I'm actually going to send that out to all of you right now so that you can go straight to that link if you're interested in signing up. Now, the program does, and this is not a hard sell, I don't ever need to do a hard sell for this program. It does sell out every time. In fact, the last 4 programs we've oversubscribed, but on this program, because of my other commitments, I'm not going to be oversubscribing. So there will only be 10 places. 4 of those places have gone already. If you want to have a chat with me about the program at any point, then you can email me at matrixreawakening@gmail.com, and I'll arrange a Skype chat if you wanted to chat with me before you book. Or if you just want to go over and book, you can go to www.sashaallenby.com/new-client-program/ and you can take a booking there. So any questions that you've got for me about the program, about the process that we did tonight, I'll be happy to stay on now and answer any questions for you. I think a few questions did come up on the chat box. I'm going to see if I can get that chat box back, so just bear with me a second. One person said they couldn't hear me, but I'm sure that was specific to that person, because I think Peggy and everybody else seems to have been able to hear me throughout. Has anybody else got any further questions for me, either about the process that we did tonight or about the program? If there's no questions, I will happily take your questions in email. And I can't see any further questions now. Just let me double check. Doesn't seem. So somebody asked me, is this a standalone process? So you can use it as a standalone process. It does go hand in hand with another technique called mind calm, which we just finished a Matrix Reawakening using mind calm meditation webinar series. And you can use it in combination with mind calm, which is a meditation technique. And with Mind Calm, we do more of the step 6, where the Mind Calm is a technique to help you to kind of sustain being awake. So you do a few sessions of Mind Calm a day, but also to help you realize where you've got lost in the story. So you can use it hand in hand with this technique called Mind Calm that was created by Sandy Newbegin, who I've just done the other webinar series with. Or you can use it as a standalone process whenever you experience yourself being caught in the story. So you can use it either as a standalone, or you can use it together with the other process as well. So just to be clear, the Matrix Reawakening is for when you've got lost in your story, and the Mind Calm helps you to stay awake and aware more of the time so you can see where you've got lost in your story. And I'm just seeing if there's any other questions. You're welcome to raise your hands and ask questions and come on live. If there's no other questions now, then I will happily answer any further questions in the email. Thank you also for those people whose thanks are coming in. I can't see your names, unfortunately, tonight. You're just all coming up as friend. So I've got lots of friends tonight. So thanks a million. And there's also some thanks coming in for Peggy as well for sharing with us tonight and for being really brave. So thanks a lot to everybody. Have a great evening, and I wish you all absolutely loads of love, joy, and happiness. And see you Thursday also, darling. I'm guessing that's from James. I can't see names, but I'll see you Thursday. Okay, lots of love and goodbye for now.